Authorities release more information on a shooting at a convenience store in Koshkonong, Missouri. A local shop hosts an event aimed at helping foster parents. More than 1 in 3 Americans have received one COVID-19 shot, but officials say infection rates are rising in some areas of the country.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
One man is dead and 2 others injured following a crash in Lawrence County. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Chris Warner. Officials say the crash happened on Missouri Highway 174, 6 miles west of Republic. The report says a car driven by 35-year-old Dustin Stockton of Aurora crossed the center line and struck another car head-on. Stockton was pronounced dead on the scene. The driver and passenger of the other car, Christian and Elizabeth Klingman of Ozark, were taken to Mercy Hospital in Springfield with moderate injuries. A developing news out of Branson tonight after human skeletal remains are discovered by a mushroom hunter. Officials with the Branson Police Department say the remains were found in a wooded area near State Highway 248 and Gretna Road yesterday. Police are now working to identify the remains. The police department says they do have a current missing persons case in the area, but they don't believe these remains are related to that case. A 28-year-old man has been charged in the fatal shooting of 1 person and the wounding of 3 more at a convenience store in a small southern Missouri town. Officials with the Missouri Highway Patrol say Christopher Lindley of Thayer, Missouri, was charged with first-degree murder and criminal action in the shooting at the Snappy Mart store in Koshkonong. He is being held without bond. Authorities say Lindley walked into the convenience store around 5:15 in the morning Saturday and started firing with a handgun. Oregon County Sheriff Eric King said Lindley knew at least one of the victims, but that his motive in the shooting is unclear. The 3 injured people are being treated at hospitals in Springfield. They remained in critical condition on Sunday. Turning to 4-state weather, it was a much nicer day today than it was yesterday.
The only thing is I wish it would last longer than today, Chris, but we got a chance to salvage it and enjoy it while it was here. Certainly after a cold start of 39 this morning at Joplin Regional, but look at that high of 77. We just catapulted to a nice warm afternoon after quite a cold start this morning. Still not seeing any cloud cover coming in yet. I expect cloud cover to start building in during the overnight hours, but that is just the first of many changes I'm watching. The second change, the wind tracker had a southwest wind throughout the day. Now that northwest wind is taking hold across much of the area, ready to bring in cooler air to set the stage for a cooler week ahead of us. Right now, we're still seeing upper 50s to middle 60s across the board. Ultimately, though, we'll drop back into the upper 40s as we head toward your Monday morning. And even with increasing clouds, I still think we'll have a mild day, but certainly cooler compared to today. Highs around 63. A few rain chances to watch, but better rain chances by the end of the week, Chris. We'll break down the rest of the week here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Ria Elena and Joplin headed to Carthage today for an event to benefit foster families. The consignment store asked consigners with unsold items to donate them for this event. Now, the free foster family shopping included clothes, shoes, books, bedding, and more. Foster parents were asked to bring in paperwork with them showing proof of the children in their care. The consignment store says they recognize the hard work foster parents put in and are using this event as a way to give back.
It's a big thing for them, I think, because a lot of times, they're only given so much, money to care for their kids. So I think every little bit helps. So we're very thankful that the consigners chose to donate these items that they can help these kids that are in their care.
After the event, any unused items are donated to Crosslines Ministries in Joplin, and from there will go towards any families in need of extra help. As more Americans become vaccinated, health officials hope the nation is moving closer to herd immunity. Cases are surging in several states, especially the nation's upper Midwest. And now there's a new wrinkle in the plan, a shortage of the nation's only single-shot vaccine. CBS News correspondent Nancy Chen reports from New York.
This week, the nation's supply of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is forecast to plunge about 85%. Contamination issues at a production plant in Baltimore force some 15 million doses to be tossed. Places such as California, Santa Clara County are already feeling the impact.
Last week, we actually got a lot of Johnson & Johnson. We had nearly 20,000 doses. Next week, we're only going to get 2,300 doses.
In Michigan, the nation's latest COVID hotspot, Governor Gretchen Whitmer wants the Biden administration to surge vaccine supply. But federal health officials have reportedly suggested the state isn't efficiently administering its doses.
I don't think there's a governor in the country that's leaving any vaccines on the table. And I can tell you that's certainly the case in Michigan. We are getting shots in arms.
For Michigan's sevenfold spike over the past few months, Whitmer blames more contagious variants and behavioral factors.
People are tired and they're moving around more. And this is kind of the combination of things that is contributing to what we're seeing as a large amount of community spread in Michigan right now.
Boston University is joining a growing number of schools requiring students get vaccinated for an expected return to in-person learning in the fall.
It's definitely not a civil rights issue. It's a health issue. Yeah, we should all be protecting each other.
If I know that everyone has been vaccinated and we have that little bubble, I do think I'll be much more comfortable.
Nationwide, more than 1 in 3 Americans have had at least one dose of a vaccine. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
We take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Radarman Second Class Ralph Reed served with the Navy from 1942 to 1945 with the 5th Fleet and took part in the Okinawa campaign. His hometown, Nevada. We are proud to recognize Radarman Second Class Ralph Reed, tonight's four-state hero. And that is a look at our top stories and a quick check of that forecast on the KOAM News at 10. Still ahead, we'll hear from Joplin's police chief on crime stats in the city and why he doesn't fully agree with an FBI statistic. Plus, we'll tell you about 2 storm trackers from a Tulsa TV station that got more than they bargained for while chasing severe weather. We're continuing to connect communities tonight with the Joplin Police Department this time. A report released by the website expertise.com says Joplin isn't a safe place to live. There are 1,434 cities listed in this report, with one being the safest. Joplin ranked number 1,396. Now, the report cites the FBI's 2019 crime database as the source of the information, so we decided to check out that database, see how those numbers stacked up. Now, the 2019 FBI report lists Joplin's population at that time at 50,635. It also states the total number of offenses in general for 2019 totaled 8,333. So if you break those numbers down in the strictest sense, it means each person in the city was a victim of 6 crimes in 2019. Earlier this week, we had an opportunity to speak with Joplin Police Chief Sloan Rowland about the department's 2020 annual report. Now, the chief says the total crime for 2020 was down.
We've seen a reduction overall in crimes. We saw a reduction of about 9% total crime this year. Calls for service were down almost 8,500 calls this year. Just a lot of less people were out on the street driving, and having contact with our officers.
So now back to those numbers. Now, the expertise.com report says there are 5.77 violent crimes per 1,000 people in the city based on the 50,000 population. But that's where the chief says he has a problem with the FBI reporting database.
Well, I think, that gets lost. A lot of time our crime is judged on a 50,000 per capita. Of that 50,000 residents that live actually permanently within the city limits of Joplin. But depending on what stat you look at, that runs up to 250,000 or some even higher on a given basis. So we're policing 250,000 people, not 50,000 people. So the crime numbers, when you just judge them per 100,000 like the FBI standard, it can be very skewed because that's not the number of people that are in Joplin on an everyday basis, but that's always how we'll be judged.
Again, that complete report is on our website. Nick Kelly is up next with his complete forecast, plus how some storm trackers for a Tulsa TV station went from chasing storms to saving a life. And a little later, a look at severe weather that ravaged the South.
It was just downright nice of Mother Nature to spoil us to wrap up the weekend. It's just a shame that she can't spoil us for the rest of the week because I'm already tracking so many changes working in even as we speak. For the time being, though, beautiful sunset right there, and a time lapse throughout the rest of the day from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri. Skies like that all across the area is what allowed temperatures to really shoot into the upper 70s and lower 80s, along with a good southwest wind. However, look at the airport in Joplin. Starting to see that wind shift more out of the northwest as our cold front continues to pass on through. Still at 65 at last check. 48% is where the relative humidity stands. We're starting to see that inch up. As far as temperatures around the rest of the region, let's say lower to middle 60s across the board. So the cooler air not quite in here just yet, but it is still on the way. And it's a shame too, because that southwest wind earlier today at 10 to 20 certainly helps get us out of the upper 30s and lower 40s into warm territory. But now that northwest wind's kicking into gear as our front continues to slide on through, that means we're not done dropping off the temperatures just yet. I expect us to drop back to about 47 around Joplin, most of us mid to upper 40s to get your Monday morning started. And you'll definitely notice a cooler day for tomorrow compared to today, even though it'll still be a bit mild with highs around 63. Let's break down the setup for tomorrow and take you through the rest of the week. First, the Skywatch Storm Tracker doesn't show a lot of first impressions. However, we plot on the surface map, there's our cold front passing over the I-44 corridor. Not a lot of moisture with it, but we head upstairs to find this upper low causing some rain across the Dakotas. This, even though it passes just to our north, is just strong enough to not only push our jet stream back to the south as cooler air works in, it's going to pick up a little more moisture and a little more upper level energy and lift to not only bring cloud cover back into the mix, but maybe a stray shower or two, at least as we go through the next few days. So you can see on the future track forecast, we are still set to have temperatures drop into the mid to upper 40s by the time we hit 7 a.m. Again, I would not be surprised at all if we have partly cloudy skies already to start our Monday morning out, but the overall trend will definitely be cloud cover on the increase as we go throughout the day. Despite that, and despite a northerly breeze, it'll still be kind of a mild day, and even with maybe a stray shower that could try to materialize very late in the afternoon, it'll still be mild, just not as warm as it was today. 47 in the morning, 59 by noon, highs around 63, certainly because of the north breeze at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. As this wave to the north of us continues to pass nearby, we'll still hold on to a slight chance for a few showers by Monday night and Tuesday morning. I'm thinking any better rain chances stay just to our south and east, so we'll just hold on to slight rain chances for your Tuesday morning and maybe again by Tuesday afternoon as temperatures stay a bit below normal, near 60. Once we get into the middle of the week, though, here's Wednesday and Thursday. The jet tries to make a return, so we'll have that result in highs right around 60, but at least we're partly sunny and dry. Not the case as we go into Friday. Our next bigger system in the upper levels will shift our way. That wants to bring in a better shot for periods of rain and a lot of cloud cover by the time the weekend gets started. And by that point, we'll be lucky if we can get highs to 51 based on how Friday is looking before we jump to 55 on Saturday and 58 on Sunday. But for the next few days, at least we're still relatively mild, Chris. 63 tomorrow, 60 on Tuesday, and we'll hold primarily near 60 again through the rest of the week.
It's going to feel downright cold come Friday compared to what we've seen over the last several days.
I know, after Mother Nature spoiled us on this beautiful day, but sticking with Doug's pattern, I don't think this cooler than normal spell is going to last long.
Good, good. I like that. I'm sure other people do too. Nick, thank you so much. Well, a storm tracker from our affiliate KOTV in Tulsa and his ride-along partner went from tracking storms to rescuing someone. Storm tracker Vaughn Castor caught some of the action on camera and said he still can't believe what happened. Ashland Brothers from KOTV has the story.
Two of our storm trackers were out on assignment during last night's surge of storms when they rolled up on an accident. They say it comes with the territory, but their priority quickly switched from chasing severe weather to saving someone's life.
News on 6's storm tracker Vaughn Castor and his ride-along Joel Smith drove by a guardrail in the road and through a cloud of dust Friday night.
We're like, what just happened?
The trackers pulled onto the shoulder at 201st and Highway 75, and that's when they discovered this. A car covered in smoke at the bottom of a creek.
My initial thought was, I've got to get to that guy as soon as I can.
We had to navigate the rocks, and as soon as we get down there, Joel says, I need a hammer.
Luckily, Smith, who was a tracker in training, is also a former EMT, firefighter, and is currently in law enforcement.
You know, training kind of kicks in.
Smith began looking for overhead obstructions, surveying the crash zone, making sure the car was stable and not leaking gas.
And it was amazing to watch how he just went into action.
Smith says he ran to the driver to ask questions and discovered he was responsive, a good sign for Smith.
First, he used a pry bar to begin removing the windshield. That's before construction workers rolled up with a Sawzall, then an ATF agent and an OSBI agent. And then nurse after nurse after nurse who all happened to drive by.
Very thankful to everybody that stopped. I don't think it could go any smoother, really.
It was a God thing because he should not have survived that crash.
Von Caster says he thought Friday he was going to be the teacher.
This was meant to be. He taught me something. This day was not meant for me to be storm chasing. We were meant to be there.
Emergency vehicles picked up where they left off. Caster and Smith went on tracking storms, but say they hope to also track down the driver to check in.
Well, coming up in sports, Crowder College is back on the field with a 23-game winning streak on the line. Plus, Pitt State Track and Field host the Gorilla Classic. There's plenty of new records and first-place wins in the day's action. Severe and deadly storms hit several southern states early Saturday. CBS News correspondent Michael George reports from New York.
A 27-year-old man reportedly died after an apparent tornado struck his Louisiana home early Saturday morning. Several injuries were also reported. The storm left a wide swath of destruction throughout the area, where homes were destroyed and cars were overturned.
Just a little ways down here further north, they had two other homes where the roofs were taken completely off. The people in the house actually went into the bathroom and into the bathtub whenever they heard it, and they survived.
Near Shreveport, a 48-year-old man was said to be killed when a tree branch fell on his home. In Brandon, Mississippi, strong winds blew a tree onto this house and knocked down power lines. That likely tornado was caught on video, touching down in the area Friday night. In Florida's Panhandle, the storm system hit Pensacola. Sheets of rain and high winds pounded the city, reportedly tearing the roof off of a downtown brewery. And severe weather prompted an evacuation Saturday at the Tampa Stadium hosting WrestleMania. Michael George, CBS News.
The National Weather Service has not confirmed if Pensacola's weather was caused by a tornado, but reported winds of up to 60 miles an hour. And as tornado warnings went into effect throughout the upstate and western North Carolina area Saturday night, severe storms ripped through parts of the area, taking down power lines and trees. A tornado warning was in effect for Spartanburg County as well as McDowell and Rutherford counties from about 6:30 until 9 on Saturday. Some streets in the upstate were filled with debris and tree limbs due to the severe weather conditions. National Weather Service officials confirmed that there was no tornado touchdown in Greenville. Also weather-related, a 17-year-old girl died today as severe weather rolled through Tampa Bay. According to the Florida Highway Patrol, the team was driving north on Evanglo Avenue in Spring Hill around 11:30 this morning when she collided with a downed power line near Hyacinth Lane. The teen's car caught fire on the driver's side, and she attempted to escape the flames by getting out on the passenger side of the car, according to the Highway Patrol. In their release, they said the teen stepped out onto a live power line and died at the scene. The wire was brought down by a tree during a quick-moving storm. The name of the victim has not been released. We've got a final check of our local weather next.
PSU Track and Field hosts their annual Gorilla Classic today. Athletes from Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern are competing, as well as 3 other MIAA schools. The Division II Top 25 poll has the Pitt State men ranked 5 and the women ranked 11. For Missouri Southern, both the men and women are ranked in the top 10. In the men's javelin, National Track and Field Athlete of the Week Brett Thompson wins it. Here's Thompson's best throw of the day with a mark of 251 feet and 5 inches. That will get Thompson a new personal record and sets a new school record. His throw is the 3rd best Division II mark in history.
I just really wanted to improve. That's what I want to do every week. And I was aiming for a facility record, and I broke that, and I got the school record finally. So pretty happy to be able to accomplish that. It's everything I worked for. I want to keep improving, so I don't want to be satisfied yet, but very happy with it.
On to the track events in the 100-meter hurdles. Missouri Southern's Claire Llewellyn in the middle there. She finishes in 2nd place with a time of 14.26. Then for the men, Lewis Rollins finishes in 1st place for PSU at 14.38. Another PSU athlete, London Futch, coming down the stretch in the 400-meter dash. She gets the first place finish with 56.36. Same event for the men. Breon Randall finishes second for the Lions. PSU's Sam Tudor wins it with a time of 48.08, setting a new personal record.
That's the first real 400 I've had outdoors since like 2018. So, I mean, it feels good to actually run fast again. I feel like I executed my race basically perfectly for me. I mean, it just feels good. Sadly, I didn't get like a D2 provisional mark, but I'm only 0.3 away, so it's not super far to work for.
Pittsburgh State baseball finishes up their series with Central Missouri today. The Gorillas are looking to take one from the 4th-ranked team in the country after dropping 2 to the Mules on Saturday. Today, in the 3rd, Cole Moore hits it deep center to the back wall. That will be good for a triple. Alex Madera scores. Mules up 7-0. In the 5th, Blaine Ohlmeyer gets it through the gap for a base hit. Bases loaded now, but the Gorillas can't make anything of it. Then UCM with an 11-1 lead. Peyton Ingalls strikes out 2 batters. The 3rd out comes from a fly out to left. Gorillas halt the Mules scoring, keeping them off the board through the 5th and 6th. PSU tightens up, but they'll lose this one 13-1. Crowder College back on the field today, hosting St. Louis for a doubleheader. The Rough Riders won a pair of games against the Archers on Friday. In Game 1, bottom of the 1st, Jeffrey Mercado with a shot to right. That brings in the opening run of the game. Rough Riders lead by 1 after 2 innings of play. Bottom of the 3rd now, the pitch gets by the catcher. That's an easy run for Crowder. Then it's Cesar Soto. He knocks it out to center. 2 runs score, and the Archers take their first lead of the game. Crowder responding, Mercado again, this time a grounder to the shortstop. A little hesitation and the run comes in for Crowder. The Rough Riders will take Game 1 of the doubleheader, 12-5. In Game 2, Crowder sweeps the series, getting by St. Louis 13-12. Logan Chambers, already having quite the day, gets 3 hits in Game 2, scoring 2 runs and driving in 2 more. Crowder softball, also hosting a doubleheader today against 3 Rivers. The Lady Riders and the Raiders split an earlier season doubleheader. In Game 1, Crowder falls 6-2, and then Game 2 as well 3-2. That's the first time Crowder has lost back-to-back games all season. That's it for sports. We'll be back with more news after this.
Just kind of plopping in some random towns in our conversation today and can really find some answers. We're going to do some Googling later. But before we do any Googling, we've got a forecast to get to.
Yeah, we're going to keep things quiet overnight, but cloud cover on the increase throughout the day tomorrow and certainly behind the passing cold front. It's going to be quite a bit cooler tomorrow. 63 Monday, 60 on Tuesday, maybe slight rain chances to start the week out, but we're going to hold off on any better, more substantial rain chances until we hit the end of the week, Chris.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. And that is our time for now. Our next news time is at 5 a.m. with the KOAM Morning News. Until then, for the latest news, weather, and sports anytime, anywhere, KOAM is 24/7 at KOAMNewsNow.com. And of course, in your hand with the KOAM News Now app. And thanks for making us part of your night.